From welcome speech, I call on the chair of the organizer committee, the president of Saratovsky State University, Leonid Юрьевич Косович. Please.
Разрешите, я все-таки буду говорить по-русски.
Okay, please give me an opportunity to speak in Russian.
Дорогие участники летней школы,
Dear participants of the summer school,
мы рады приветствовать вас в этом зале.
we are glad to greet you in this audience.
Очень приятно видеть среди вас представителей разных стран и разных городов.
It's so pleasant to see among you representatives of different states and different cities.
Вы по-настоящему заинтересованы в научном исследовании.
You are truly interested in academic research.
Вы открыты для международных контактов.
You are open to international contacts.
И мы, в свою очередь, счастливы представить вам площадку для таких контактов.
And we are, in our turn, happy to provide you the platform for such contacts.
Саратовский университет имеет внушительный опыт научного взаимодействия с ведущими вузами мира.
Saratov University has a considerable experience of cooperation with the leading universities of the world.
Бывший императорский Николаевский университет.
It's the last imperial university of Russia.
И ныне Национальный исследовательский университет России.
And now it's a National Research University of Russia.
Один из ведущих вузов России.
One of the leading universities in Russia.
Наш программный комитет под руководством Александра Котова
Our program committee under the leadership of Alexander Kotov
приготовил для вас интереснейшую программу.
have prepared for you an interesting program.
Подобрал великолепных лекторов.
Invited perfect lecturers.
И мы надеемся,
And we hope
что прочитанные в Саратовском университете лекции
that the lectures given to you at our university
запомнятся вам надолго
will be remembered by you for a long time
и помогут сделать важные шаги в вашей и нашей научной карьере.
and will help to make you and to us important steps in your academic career.
Почетное право рассказать вам о нашем университете я хочу предоставить его ректору, профессору Алексею Николаевичу Чумаченко.
I would like to give the honorable right to present Saratov State University to our rector Alexei Nikolaevich Chumachenko.
Добрый день, уважаемый президиум, уважаемые участники форума.
Dear members of the Presidium, dear participants of the forum,
Я позволю себе действительно кратко рассказать о нашем университете, о том, что он из себя представляет сегодня.
I would like to briefly tell you about our university, what presents our university today.
Саратовский университет, как Леонид Юрьевич уже сказал, был образован в 1909 году как последний 10-й императорский университет нашей страны.
As Leonid Yuryevich have already mentioned, our university was founded in 1909 as the 10th and the last Imperial Russian University.
Университет сразу стал не только научно-образовательным, но и культурным, и экономическим, и социально значимым вузом Нижнего Поволжья.
The university has at once become not just research, but cultural, economic and socially significant center of the Lower Volga.
Наши предшественники, поколение великих ученых прошлого столетия, создали замечательные научные школы, результаты работы которых вошли в золотой фонд нашей российской и мировой науки.
Our predecessors, the great generation of really great academics, laid the foundations for the academic schools, which results entered the golden font of the Russian and world science.
Мы гордимся своей богатой историей, своими научными школами, но и сегодня нам есть что предъявить научному образовательному сообществу мира.
We are proud of our rich history, our scholars and academic schools, but today we also have something to offer to the world science community.
В университете в настоящее время обучается около 20 тысяч студентов по самым разным направлениям, программам подготовки бакалавров, специалистов, магистров, аспирантов.
More than 20,000 students study at present at the university within various bachelor, specialist, master and postgraduate programs.
Заметно, очень хорошо заметна динамика роста иностранных студентов в Саратовском университете. Если в 2010 году их было 100 человек, в прошлом году немногим более 600, то в этом году будут обучаться более 750 студентов иностранцев.
There is enormous growth dynamics in the number of foreign students. If in 2010 there were around 100 foreign students, in the last academic year it was more than 600 foreign students. So according to the results of the admission campaign, it will be over 750 students this year.
Саратовский университет имеет статус национального исследовательского университета. Он входит в число 42 центров наноиндустрии.
Saratov University has a status of national research university. It ranks among 42 centers of nano-industry in Russia.
Включен в состав Центра университетских суперкомпьютеров, консорциум центров космического мониторинга.
It's included in the network of Russian university supercomputers and in the consortium of space monitoring centers.
Входим, являемся резидентом Сколково.
And we are also the resident of Skolkovo.
Университет имеет устойчивую репутацию и на международном уровне. Более 50 университетов Европы, Азии и Америки являются нашими партнерами.
We have a serious reputation at the international level. More than 50 universities from Asia, Europe and America are our partners.
Мы входим в сеть университетов Черноморского региона, Европейскую технологическую платформу Photonics 21.
We are the members of the Black Sea Universities Network. We are also the member of the European Technological Platform of Photonics 21.
Европейский промышленный консорциум по фотонике, участвовали в 6-7 рамочных программах ЕС.
We are also the member of the European Photonics Industry Consortium, and we have participated in the 6th and the 7th framework programs of the European Union.
В 2014 году Саратовский университет вошел в мировой рейтинг QS, занимая 601-650 позицию в мире и 15 место в России.
In 2014, the university entered the US World University Rankings in the position 601-650 among the international universities and the 15th position among the Russian universities.
На сегодняшний день вот эти же позиции мы сохраняем. Где-то 15-16 место среди вузов, вошедших в QS в России, и та же самая группа в QS мира.
And at present we also hold the positions, so it's approximately the 15th position among the Russian universities and the first 600 best universities of the world.
Такому состоянию способствуют, пожалуй, два основных фактора, одинаковые по своей важности. Это материально-техническая база для научных исследований и учебного процесса и уровень подготовки персонала.
Two factors equal in its importance contribute to this. Material and technical base for academic researchers and educational process and the high level of the university staff training.
За последние 8 лет нами выиграно 7 государственных грантов, каждый в десятки миллионов долларов.
For the last 8 years we have won 7 state grants, each for tens of millions of dollars.
Это позволило обеспечить университет самым современным оборудованием для решения задач в разных областях науки.
It allowed furnishing the university with modern equipment for solving different problems in different academic spheres.
Это не просто современное оборудование, которое позволяет проводить исследования на самом высоком мировом уровне.
And it is not just the modern equipment. In most cases, this equipment is unique and allows to conduct researches at a high international level.
За эти годы значительно изменился менталитет наших сотрудников, желание работать на самом высоком уровне стало нормой.
The way of thinking of our university staff has changed significantly in recent years, and the desire to work at a high level has become a norm.
Значительно расширился перечень компетенций наших сотрудников и преподавателей.
The list of professional competences of our scholars and lecturers has been expanded greatly.
За последние 6 лет более 300 сотрудников, и из них более 30% это молодые ученые Саратовского университета, побывали в самых серьезных мировых центрах науки и образования.
For the last 6 years, more than 300 of the university employees visited different international research centers and universities, and more than 30% of them are postgraduate students and young researchers.
Увеличилась грантовая и публикационная активность наших сотрудников, появились навыки проектной работы.
The grant activity and publication activity of our university staff has increased, and we have developed the skills of project management.
Руководство и управленческая структура университета приобрели в ходе реализации грантов огромный опыт. Это решение сложных коллективных задач, умение перегруппироваться и сконцентрировать свое внимание на самых важных направлениях работы.
In the course of grant implementation, administrative structures of the university have gained great experience. Its inability to solve complex collective tasks, to regroup and concentrate resources.
Какие, на наш взгляд, есть конкурентные преимущества у Саратовского университета сейчас?
So which are the competitive advantages of our university, in my opinion?
Прежде всего, это академическая репутация и международное сотрудничество.
So first of all, it's the academic reputation and international cooperation.
Уровень подготовки специалистов в нашем университете получил мировое признание.
The level of our university staff training has gained the international recognition.
Команды студентов из нашего университета за последние десятилетия неоднократно завоевывали чемпионские и призовые места на чемпионатах мира и Европы по программированию.
For the last decade, student teams of our university have several times won the first places and prizes at the European and World Championships on programming.
Сотни наших выпускников работают в учебных, производственных, образовательных организациях от Великобритании до Сингапура, США, Канады, Австралии.
Hundreds of our graduates work in the research, industrial and educational centers from the United Kingdom to Singapore, in the USA, Canada and Australia.
Преподаватели университета приглашаются для чтения лекций в Германии, Китае, Финляндии, Турции, Словении.
Our professors are invited for giving lectures in Germany, China, Finland, Turkey and Slovenia.
Летние школы, здесь приезжают студенты США, Франция, Турция, Греция.
Students from the USA, France, Greece and Turkey constantly visit our Russian language summer schools.
Представители более 7 стран мира обучаются с помощью нашего электронного дистанционного образования.
Representatives of 7 states study at our Institute of Electronic and Distance Learning.
Научные статьи ученых университета признаются и активно цитируются в мировом сообществе.
Academic articles of our university staff are recognized and cited at the international level.
Уровень цитирования растет, как вы видите, по экспоненте. И вот здесь на графике приведены вузы, в общем-то, это, по сути, ведущие вузы нашей страны. Это те слева, которые входят в топ-500, и те, которые на последнем этапе предполагали войти в топ-500. В данном случае по индексу цитирования Саратовский университет, вы видите его место.
The number of citations of the academic articles of our university staff is exponentially growing, and here on the slide and the graph you see the number of citations of the universities which entered top 100 of universities, and those institutions, educational institutions, which plan to enter this ranking at the last stage of the competition.
Еще один важный индекс – это индекс Хирша. Если не учитывать в данном случае Санкт-Петербургский и Московский университет, которые, по сути, разумеется, они оппоненты для всех, в общем-то, очень серьезно, их не учитывают здесь, то мы делим 5-6 место с Казанским университетом среди тех вузов, которые входят в QS Times.
Another important indicator is the Hishki index. And apart from Moscow and St. Petersburg state universities, we are in the 5th and the 6th position according to this ranking, to the ranking of the QS and the Times rankings.
В Саратовском университете созданы 2 научные лаборатории с международным участием.
Saratov University has 2 laboratories with international participants.
12 сотрудников университета входят в международные редколлегии зарубежных журналов.
12 university employees are the members of the international editorial boards.
У нас своих 14 изданий, входящих в перечень, так называемый перечень ВАК, и в каждой редакции этих журналов есть, разумеется, представители международные.
We also have 14 academic journals which are in the approved lists of the Higher Attestation Commission, and all of these academic periodicals have international editorial boards.
В том самом рейтинге QS, о котором я упоминал, по направлению физика и астрономия, за 2014 год по показателю академической репутации университет набрал 70 баллов. Это очень близко к показателю, который набирает те, кто входит в 100 лучших в мире.
And in 2014, according to these rankings, the university scored 70 points in terms of academic reputation in the area of physics and astronomy, and it's very close to the first 100 of the best universities.
В прошлом году мы не смогли войти в рейтинг Times, но из 5 категорий показателей мы только в одной группе занимаем 803 место. Все остальные мы вошли в 800, и только 800, в общем-то, Times полностью уходит. Нам осталось одну группу выполнить, и мы войдем в рейтинг Times.
So last year we were not able to be included in the Times ranking, but according to this agency, only in 1 of 5 groups we are on the 803rd position. In other 4 indicators, we are among the best 800 universities of the world, so we have to just improve our skills in this indicator to enter the best universities.
Ну, еще одно конкурентное преимущество Саратова хотелось бы упомянуть. Я сказал о том, что Саратов был образован, и он как бы вобрал в себя все юго-восточное направление. Здесь на этом слайде как раз это все и показано.
And another competitive advantages which I'd like to mention is the geographical position of Saratov. So as I have already mentioned, Saratov encompasses the whole southeastern part of the Volga region.
В сентябре будет отмечаться День города Саратова.
In September we will celebrate the birthday of Saratov.
И на одном из мест города, в старом городе, Золотоордынском городе Увек, будут проходить большие мероприятия, посвященные этому дню.
And we will have great events commemorating this holiday, the birthday of Saratov in the city Увек.
Да, через этот город, это одно из ответвлений шелкового пути, и через этот город проходили пути, которые соединяли, в общем-то, все вот эти вот страны, соединяли с Европой, соединяли с Россией.
One of the branches of the Silk Road passed through this ancient city, so economic and trade routes linking Asia and Europe passed through it.
Ну и сейчас город Саратов, как и в свое время город Увек, это многоконфессиональный город, город многонациональный, где, в общем-то, дружно живут все национальности, все народы, которые населяют этот город, нашу область, и точно так же себя чувствует Саратовский университет.
Like Увек, Saratov is a multi-confessional, multinational city, and different nationalities and religions peacefully coexist in our region.
Саратовский университет является одним из лидеров в стране по постановке воспитательной работы среди студентов.
Saratov University is also one of the leaders in the country in terms of educational work among students.
волонтерские движения, возрожденные строительные отряды, шефская помощь детским домам и школам, художественная самодеятельность и многое-многое другое.
Volunteer movement revived construction brigades, assistance to orphanages and schools, and a lot more.
На серьезном уровне находится университетский спорт.
Saratov University is also at a high level in terms of the sport.
И не только внутри нашей области, на региональном уровне, но и на уровне высших достижений.
And we are talking not about the level of the region or the Russian level, but we are speaking about the professional sport, global sport.
Ну, сейчас это особенно к месту, в то время, когда закончилась Олимпиада, среди наших олимпийцев и Илья Захаров, который, к сожалению, в этом году выступил не так удачно, как на предыдущей Олимпиаде.
And of course, the Olympic Games in Rio have already ended, and among the participants in the Olympic Games is our student Илья Захаров, who was not such successful as at the last Olympic Games.
Здесь на слайде Наталья Лобова, это участница Лондонской Олимпиады.
So here on the slide you see Natalia Lobova, the participant of the Olympic Games in London.
Наша магистрантка.
She's our master student.
Здесь на слайде нету Киры Степановой, которая приняла участие в этом году в Рио и заняла 5-е место.
There is no photo of Kira Stepanova, the participant of the Olympic Games in Rio, and she took there the 5th position.
Ну и очень мы надеемся на то, что вот, два следующих товарища, это паралимпийцы, в обязательном порядке примут участие в Олимпиаде.
And we hope that the next two participants they are our Paralympic participants of the games in Rio. They will participate and they will perform successfully in these Olympic Games.
Уважаемые друзья, я очень кратко, очень тезисно затронул что-то об университете, тем не затронутых очень много.
Dear participants, dear friends, I have briefly touched some issues about our university, and there are a lot of subjects which we haven't addressed.
Не стану злоупотреблять временем, оно для вас на этой школе очень важным является.
So I wouldn't abuse time. It is so valuable for you during this school.
Надеюсь, за время работы школы у вас будет хотя бы немного времени познакомиться и с Саратовским университетом. Желаю вам успешной работы и успехов.
And I hope that during these days you will have an opportunity to know about our university a little bit more. So I wish you all good results and successful work.
Спасибо.
Thank you.
I'm really happy to welcome you at the 10th Russian Summer School Information Retrieval here in Saratov. I would like very briefly to thank people and organizations who made this event happen. Unfortunately, I won't be able to name them all because so many people have been involved in the preparation of the organization. So first of all, I would like to thank Saratov State University, our hosts, for this opportunity to make this school in Saratov on Volga River. I would like to thank, there are many people, as I said, involved in the organization. I would like to thank in person Leonid and Ilyana, who started this process in Saratov University. I would thank our generous sponsors, Yandex and Mail.ru are our golden sponsors. We have also 2 bronze sponsors, JetBrains and Exact Pro. Elias Network and European Science Foundation provided grants for international students and international lecturers, travel grants, and we have also a grant from a Russian fund for basic research. So without this money, we couldn't organize this school. Thank you very much. I would like to thank Alexander Kotov, our program committee chair, and all the program committee members for preparing a brilliant program. I would like to thank our lecturers for coming here. Unfortunately, Gianluca De Martini got sick and couldn't come, but I think all the other lecturers are here or will come tomorrow. And of course, last but not least, I would like to thank Maxim Glubin, who managed all the financial and legal issues from California, and he made this service already for 10 years, and I really appreciate it. And of course, I would like to thank you, participants, because we couldn't organize this good without students. Thank you very much. I have a couple of technical notes. Technical announcements. So the most up-to-date schedule you can find on site, on school site. The coffee breaks will be in the next buildings, number 11, across the court. You can consult the map and see. I think in your package there is a map, and you can find even with images. So we have the lunch from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. So we have only 1 hour for lunch. Please be back to school on time. And we have also a poster session now. Today we have 2 poster sessions, one today and one tomorrow. Please look at the site, and if you are listed for today, please give your posters to organizers, to guys in orange t-shirts, and they will fix it to the wall during coffee break. And we have also welcome reception tonight, so I think we will great time to know each other, to discuss different things and make friends and so on. So welcome and thank you.
Thanks to our speakers. And now we're ready to proceed with our scientific goal. I hope that you will enjoy the lectures, the inspiring atmosphere of russir courses. And let the russir begin. Dear all, I would like you to welcome our first russir 2016 instructor, Dr. Christian Baylor, with the keynote lecture, Entity Speech, Entity Search. The last decade and the next. Welcome, Dr. Christian.
Entity search is about answering search queries with specific entities instead of just a list of documents. These are some examples that you are familiar with in major search engines. When you search for restaurants in a city, for example, then you can get specific restaurants. These are entities, and these are even displayed on a map. You can search for authors of a book, and then the search engine understands that you are searching for books and gives you a list of books. So this talk will have a very straightforward outline. It is structured in 3 parts: the past, the present, and the future. So let's start with the past. And in this part, I will talk about the core problem of ranking entities. Given a search query, how can we answer this search query with a ranked list of entities? And in our field, much of development is driven by worldwide evaluation campaigns. And for those that might not know what these look like, I have a slide explaining this evaluation cycle. So like many things, it starts with an idea, and then that idea is crystallized into a task definition. It is followed by experimental design, So first we figure out how we are going to evaluate it before we start solving it. When we have the methodology for evaluation, then can method development start. People develop different algorithms, approaches, which are evaluated experimentally, and then we are scientists, we need to publish, we write these reports, articles, and then in most cases there is a revision of the task based on these findings, and it leads to revised task definition and another evaluation cycle. So as I briefly mentioned, the entity ranking task is about answering search queries with a ranked list of entities, and in this case the main focus is on the retrieval method, that mechanism that allows us to return entities instead of documents. And this task has been studied quite heavily over the past decade. Here is a timeline. Now it's quite difficult to give you a detailed overview in a few minutes. So what I'm going to do is to show you a kind of summary card for each of these evaluation campaigns, and then try to look at some trends. And in a small number of cases, I will say something about the approaches as well. So it all started with the track, enterprise track, where there was a task called expert finding. So track, that's the name of a conference. And the input is a keyword query. You can see some examples there, like ontology, engineering, or climate change. And given an enterprise document collection, the task is to return a list of people who are experts on these topics. And entities, people, in this case, are identified by unique email addresses. What makes this task challenging is that there are no direct representations of these entities. Documents are retrievable units. People, in this case, are not retrievable units. So what can we do? The main idea is that we can look at the contents of documents and see what documents mention the query terms and these entities together. And then based on that, form some search strategy. Very briefly, I will show you two popular search strategies. One is called profile-based methods. And the idea is we know how to rank documents, so why don't we just create a document for each entity that describes that entity, and we can recognize the mentions and occurrences of these entities in documents. Those are the colored snippets, and then in the simplest case we just concatenate these documents together and form an entity description document, which can then be ranked using standard document retrieval techniques. Another strategy could be not to build these representations, but first just rank documents. We know how to do that. And then we can identify what entities are mentioned in those documents and somehow aggregate these scores. Okay. It was in 2007 when Wikipedia was large enough to be used for entity retrieval. Many of the articles in Wikipedia describe entities, so the idea was, okay, why can't we just use this existing resource and find the entities in there? And to make it a bit more exciting in terms of research, the keyword query was complemented with additional information. In this case, a small number of example categories, or target categories. So these are the types of entities that the user would want. And the main idea there is, okay, we have these term-based representations, the text of the article. In parallel, we can also make a representation based on categories. So categories correspond to the types of entities, and we can match these categories of the entity with the categories of the query. Okay. One problem with the Wikipedia is that it contains only entities that are sufficiently popular. And there are many more entities that are interesting, but they don't have a Wikipedia page. So in 2009, the track, entity track started to look at finding entities on the web. And again, in this case, a different type of query formulation was studied, in which queries search for related entities. So all queries follow a specific pattern. When there is an input entity, in this example, the Boeing 747 plane, there is a certain relation, airlines that use this plane, and there is a target type constraint on the type of entities that we want back. And in this case, entities are represented by their home pages on the web. Next up is the semantic search challenge, and it started looking at entity retrieval in the web of data, or a semantic web data, which is highly structured. Everything is described in terms of triples, and there are different types of queries that are frequently issued to search engines. The sample was taken from an actual search engine log. Entities that look for a particular entity, like a mobile phone or a Disney theme park, or look for a list of entities. So I have this slide with this idea of triple-based data representation. Everything is, each fact or statement is described in terms of a subject, predicate, object triple, and in this example, you can see the Wikipedia page of a car on the right, and this structured representation on the left. And the main lesson learned was that we can make these fielded document representations out of this highly structured data, and that works effectively for entity search. There is another campaign which I included here. It's a bit of an outlier because it's question answering, and not all the answers are entities, but many questions can be answered with a list of entities or a specific entity. And in this case, this is again studied using this RDF data. And finally, there was an IMAX link data track, which ran only for 2 years, and the idea there was to combine somehow Wikipedia and this highly structured data. And as before, entities are represented by their Wikipedia articles, and we can search for these simple keyword queries. Okay, so it's a lot of work that has been done. Can we somehow identify some trends in it? And I rearranged these campaigns according to 2 dimensions. The first one is data. So we can cluster these according to the type of data they use: unstructured sources, semi-structured sources, which is Wikipedia, or highly structured sources like the web of data. And we can clearly see that there is a trend towards moving more structured data. What is missing from this figure is that is successful or meaningful attempts at combining structured and unstructured data. There were some task definitions that tried to look into that, but none of those were really successful. We can also look at how queries evolved during these past 10 years. And what we can observe is that keyword queries are still the most common way to search. This is not really surprising. It's been made extremely popular by big search engines. There was a period when these keyword plus queries, so keyword and some additional information like target categories or entities in the query were popular, and what we see is that natural language queries are gaining attention. Okay, so to look at it from a certain distance, what we can conclude is that the core focus has been on retrieval models and more specifically on constructing entity representations in terms of language usage, in terms of descriptions, types, attributes, and so on. And in many cases, the improvements that were brought in are due to these richer query representations, but these were taken for granted. We assume that this is given. So if I want to illustrate this somehow, then I could use this picture. This is what we built in the last 10 years. This is very powerful. It has great straight line speed. Now if you think about what would you want for a production car, which has the purpose of getting a user from A to B, and what should you invest in, then it is probably not the engine. It should be other parts of the car. So what are those other parts of the car? The first one is understanding information needs. So it's quite difficult to return good results unless we understand what the user is looking for. Another one is result presentation and user interaction. So the car should have wheels and some steering wheel and also wheels to take this power to the road. It is an important component. And last but not least, the data that we work with. So the data is the fuel to the engine. We need to get the data before we can do anything, before we can search in it. Okay. So the second part will be about some very recent work that I've done with colleagues on some of these themes. And I will use these gears as a kind of map so that you can see where these approaches fit in the bigger picture. The first one will be focused on data. So many of these cool features that you can see in modern web search engines are powered by knowledge bases. And there are two things that are important here. One is that these knowledge bases need continuous updating in order to provide the user with up-to-date information. And the second one is we need to be able to verify the source of that information. So Wikidata is a recent initiative. There might be some talks, or it might be discussed in some of the upcoming talks. I just put in one statement or fact from Saratov's entry, and you can see that for each fact there should be some reference. Where does this information originate from? And in this case it was imported from the Russian Wikipedia, but there could be another source. What is important that these sources need to be checked by humans. So the question we can ask is, can we somehow help these humans that are responsible for maintaining these knowledge bases to make their work easier? In this work, we looked at one particular type of knowledge base, which is for financial transactions. And this is a mock-up of the interface that we designed for these knowledge base editors to use. Let me walk you through this interface quickly. There is a subject entity that the editor is responsible for. There might be many financial events, so there is a control to filter the type of events that we want to see. And there is an object entity, so we think in terms of subject, predicate, object triples, and we can see the extracted information, and we can see the assigned confidence, some attributes of the event, and a snippet, and we can click on it and see the origin document where this information comes from. So how can we feed this interface with data? Here is the approach. It's an extraction pipeline that uses a combination of natural language processing and machine learning. In the first step, we split the document into sentences. This is just a pragmatic choice because a sentence is a nice evidence that's short enough. So we only extract statements that are described in a single sentence. And we annotate the sentence with monetary information, entities involved, we recognize dates and values, and can even check if these things stand in the correct semantic relation. Then we cluster these events together. So popular events are typically reported multiple times in the media, and what we do is cluster these reportings and then generate possible interpretations. In this work, an interpretation is a quintuple, where we have the subject, predicate, object, and in addition the amount of the financial transaction and the date. And it might be that a long sentence contains multiple dates or multiple values, and it can lead to multiple event representations. And in the last step, what we do is we use supervised learning to assign a confidence score. And we can use this confidence score when showing these results to the users, or we could even say above a certain confidence threshold, we want to insert these facts automatically into the knowledge base. So here are some results. I have 3 baselines, and I have the supervised learning approach in red. So the 3 baselines are the first and last reporting of the event, and the most frequent attributes, or most frequent date and value if it's reported multiple times. And we can see that the supervised learning approach performs best. Okay, so to sum up this work, we developed a pipeline for building a domain-specific knowledge base using a combination of NLP and machine learning. What are the open problems here? One is the question of long-tail entities. So we still had some information about these companies that we were interested in. Not all had a Wikipedia page, but there are other knowledge bases, and they had some entries there. But what about entities that don't have any structured information associated with them? And the second one is that this was a highly specific approach to extracting financial transactions which have monetary value and date as attributes. But what would be the attributes for arbitrary entities? Okay, the next work is about understanding information needs, and it has to do with the queries. As we have seen in these previous benchmarking campaigns, in many cases these semantic annotations were provided as part of the input. Can we obtain these automatically, and can we use this somehow to improve entity retrieval? This is quite straightforward, I have to add, but the nice thing about it that it works, and it can be applied on top of any turn-based retrieval method. So what we start with is a keyword query and a term-based representation, and we can match these two using any retrieval model. And what these do is they look for occurrences of these query terms in this text-based representation. That's what is highlighted in yellow. What we do in addition, as a kind of extension to that, is that we obtain entity annotations automatically. In this case, we recognize that this is Barack Obama, and we create an entity-based representation where these angle brackets indicate that these are entities, these are units on their own, and these are not translated to words. This method can be applied on top of any text-based entity retrieval method. Those baselines are shown in yellow, and when we apply the extension on top of them, that's shown in red. And we can see that it results in 6-7% relative improvement, and it is statistically significant, and it works on top of all models. Let me show you just one slide from the analysis that we did. So we know that these entity annotations are imperfect, and the entity linker has a certain confidence that we can get, and we can control what type of annotations do we want. On the left hand, we use all the annotations, even the ones with a very low confidence, and on the right hand, we only use the annotations that we have very high confidence in. And what is nice about this approach is it works better when we use more entities, even if we don't have much confidence in those annotations. Okay, so this is published work. You can look up the details. What we showed here is that we can automatically annotate queries with entities, and we can use that to improve performance. One big research, open research question here is how should a query be answered? So, recognizing entities in the query, that's one way of that's one angle of understanding. Another angle of understanding would be, what does the user want? Does the user want an entity card? Does the user want a list of entities, or maybe a table, and so on? Okay, the next one is about entity summaries, and this links to this result presentation part. So you can see these summary cards in modern web search engines nowadays, and these serve a dual purpose. They provide a kind of overview, summary of the entity, but they should also provide evidence why this is a good answer to the given query. And most of these cards are generated in a static way. What it means is you get the same card when the entity is somehow mentioned in the query, and it doesn't try to go further. And the question we ask is, can we generate these cards in a dynamic way, so that they serve not only the first purpose, but also the second purpose? And there are two subtasks involved. One is what should be in the summary? What should be the facts that are presented in the summary? The summary is the part in the red box with the facts. And the second question is, how should we present these facts? Here is an example for the Query Einstein Awards. So on the left you can see the static summary, which which is reasonable if you have only 5 lines. These are some of the facts that you could show about Einstein. On the right-hand side, there is a dynamic summary, and you see that in line 3, it shows the awards, and also it shows educational background instead of the family background. So let's look at those 2 tasks. The first one is fact ranking, where we want to order these statements about the entity according to some criteria, and that could be importance, how well it describes the entity in general. It could be relevance, how relevant is that fact given entity and the query, and it could be a combination of these 2, which we call utility, so how helpful it is for the user. And I won't detail all the features that we developed for this. There is a set of features that are targeting importance, and there is a different set of features which are targeting relevance. The second subtask is summary generation, and here is some illustration for why is it more than just a ranked list of facts. So on the left you can see these facts that we could get from a knowledge base. These are ranked, and on the right there is this entity summary that should be presented as part of the entity card. So one thing that we notice is there is noise and redundancy in these knowledge bases, and there are predicates that express the same information. They have the same meaning, but they have different identifiers. So we should somehow merge them. There are also those multi-valued predicates, like languages in Norway, and we will want to group those somehow. And there are these presentation constraints. So we need human-readable labels as opposed to those predicates that we have on the left, and we have to fit it into a certain size. So here is an algorithm that is very simple, but simple is good. This is how a summary looks like. It contains a number of lines, and each line has a heading and some values. So in the first step, we identify what should be the headings by recognizing these semantically identical predicates and finding the human labels for those. And in the next step, we collect the line values by grouping them, and also if it doesn't fit, then we have to add a more link. This slide contains some evaluation results against some baselines. I like to focus on the blue and the red lines. So the blue one is the line when we train the system only for importance, and the red one is when we train it for utility. So the blue one is the static one, the red one is the dynamic one, and we can evaluate it against only importance or against utility. And we see a small but significant difference. We can also compare these summaries side by side, and we perform that evaluation using 2 settings. In the first line, we take a perfect fact ranking approach, and we found that out of 100 cases, in 47 cases, the dynamic summary is preferred by the users. In only 16 cases, the static one is preferred, and the rest are ties. And so this is a kind of upper limit what we would get with the perfect fact ranking, and we find that with automatic fact ranking we don't do much worse. So that's good. Okay, so this work was about generating summaries and result presentation. Some open issues here are the rest of the entity card, what should be on the card, and number 2 is what about all those information needs that shouldn't be answered with a card. How we should be present the results for those. In the last bit, I want to go back to information needs and present a summary of work that was just recently submitted, which is about zero query search. So all the search systems we have looked at so far were reactive in a sense that you put in a query and the system responds. Can we make a proactive system instead that based on your context just provides you with the information that you need at that point? In this work we use check-ins in a location-based network as the context, and we are trying to present the user on a mobile phone with these information cards that address directly the information needs that the user will have in the future. So what we do is we use points of interest, and we use categories as points of interest as activities. So restaurants, transportation, and so on, and there's a hierarchy of those activities, and we want to figure out for each of these activities what would be information needs, what would be queries that people would type in if they had to search for it. You could look at a search engine log of a big search engine company to get this information. If you don't work at a big search engine company, you can get indirect access by looking at query completions. So that's what we did. From each of these categories, we sampled a number of points, like Victoria Station. We added the city, and we looked at search suggestions. And we aggregated those for a number of points. The second step is, okay, we know what the information needs are for a given activity, but how can we proactively provide the user with the right card? What we do is we take a check-in data log that's publicly available, and we estimate these transition probabilities. So we know if the user was engaged in activity A, then with what probabilities will activity B, C, or D follow, and then we try to show these cards such that they maximize the likelihood of satisfying the user no matter what follows next. So evaluation is a bit tricky because we didn't deploy this system on mobile phones, which means we have to do some sort of simulation. What we do is we divided this check-in data set into training set and the test set. We use the training set to learn these transition probabilities, and in the test set we can look at each pair of activities, and in this case there is a shop and service activity which is followed by arts and entertainment, and then we ask human assessors to imagine that they are in this scenario, that they are in between these two activities, what would be relevant information needs for them. Okay, so here are the results. The yellow one is a naive baseline, which always presents the same set of most frequent cards, no matter what the actual activity was. And there are a number of increasingly more complex models. The best performing one is M2, the red one. And what is interesting about it, that it also takes into account the information needs that people had after the activity they just did. And in many cases, those are, for example, writing reviews. So you have been to a restaurant or a movie, you are going somewhere else, but one of the things that you might still do is provide a review of the experience that you just had. Okay. So this work was about anticipating what information needs the user will have next, based on one specific context, which was the check-in activity. The big open question is what else could be used as context? And there's a whole lot of issues here related to access to data, privacy, and so on. But nevertheless, this is something very interesting, in my opinion, to work on. Okay. So the last part, I will try to make it short. I just put up this motto as a kind of mission statement. I think it was said at the CPR conference earlier this year, that information retrieval is about making the right information available to the right person at the right time. So I think it's good to keep that kind of mission statement in the back of our head. And what will follow next is an imaginary conversation with an intelligent personal assistant. This is something that doesn't exist yet, but this is how it could go, in my view, 10 years from now. So on the right, you will see the agent, or this intelligent assistant, which is telling me, I see you are wasting time away on Facebook. Do you have time now to talk about your holiday plans? Sure. I want an active holiday with the family in beautiful nature. It sounds like you would definitely love Norway. A cabin in the mountains, maybe? Could be, but I want to go kayaking and also catch some fish, and not too much rain, please. And something fun for the kids nearby, I suppose. Yeah, so it's a 10-year vision. I have family and kids. Of course. So how does this place sound? People have been quite successful with catching lake trout based on what I found on Instagram. There's also a theme park and horse riding, both within 50 kilometers. And what about the weather? You know, we are talking about Norway, right? It's important that an intelligent assistant has a sense of humor. Anyway, based on statistics from the past 30 years, this is one of the areas with the least amount of rain if you go in August. I see. What about accommodation? Here's a list of places that you might like. I get a list of places, and it's easier to click. I look at the photos, I look at the description, and after a while I ask, any opinions on this one? According to the reviews that I can find on the web, the cabins are well equipped, the staff is nice, and they even allow guests to borrow their kayaks. Okay, let's find a date that works for everyone. According to your wife's calendar, her parents will be visiting you in the first week of August. School starts for the kids on the week of August 22, so there is a 2-week window between August 8 and 21, assuming that I can cancel the regular weekly meetings with your PhD students. That's fine, the students won't mind. Write them an email to upload their holiday plans to the group wiki and add summer planning to the next group meeting's agenda. Okay, so here is an email with asking the students to do just that, a link to the group wiki. I still like to be in control, so I check it and I press send, and then the agenda item can be added automatically. Okay. In the meantime, I called the cabin to check availability. Their online booking system is down at the moment. They still have some cabins available. Do you want to see them? No, I had enough of this for today. Mail the pictures to my wife with some kind words. So here's an email. Darling, you will love the place I found for us for a vacation in August. It's by the water. At night we will hear the waves. We will be able to take our morning breakfast on the balcony, and so on. It's getting highly personal after that one. The rest is not included. I press send. Okay, is there anything else I can do for you? And then rapid shift. Order a water filter for my espresso machine. I just found out that it will need to be replaced soon. Okay, so very quickly, I want to identify some future research themes grouped by according to those topics or areas that we had identified before. The first one is about understanding information needs. So this whole conversation was in natural language. This agent was anticipating my information needs, and it was proactive. So just the way it started, it approached me with an information need that I will have in the future, and along the way it proactively recommended things. What about data? You remember that part where it showed the cabins in Norway? This part, so it doesn't assume that we will have a knowledge base containing all the cabins in Norway. So information has to be extracted on the fly. Another important point is what I labeled personal knowledge base. So I made many references to my wife, my students, my group, my espresso machine, and when I made that, then I assumed that the system knows that my espresso machine is this model, and when it has to order water filters, then it needs to be for this particular model. So there is a subset of the word that I care about or interact with my personal knowledge base. In terms of result presentation and interaction, you notice that it provided evidence. In many cases, this was just in forms of links or pointers to the calendar app, for example. In many cases, I don't have the time, or I'm not interested in checking this information. I just trust the system, but if I want to check, I should be able to track the source of the information. Many of these entities were actionable. So ordering an item, making a booking, adding something to an agenda. And in general, the whole purpose of this system was to help me to get things done. And there was a lot of search and entities involved, but it was about helping me to complete my tasks. So I will close with this slide. I put these open issues that we identified along the way on this map, and it goes from easy to more difficult. The list. You will see that there is still something to do in terms of retrieval methods, and in my opinion that should be hybrid approaches that use both unstructured and structured data, but there is a lot more to do in other areas. So I would like to thank my co-authors who were involved with this work, and I'm happy to take questions.
Hello, thank you for your presentation. It was quite interesting. But could you please be more detailed about knowledge bases? I mean, I do know nothing about knowledge bases. So my main question is: knowledge bases are made manually or automatically? I just missed it in your lecture. Yeah, thank you.
All right, so then this school will be excellent for you, because there will be a lot about knowledge bases, I think. So knowledge, the best way to illustrate it is if we start with Wikipedia. Wikipedia is meant for human consumption, and the knowledge base is basically the same information that is meant for machine consumption. So that's data in highly structured format, and this can be extracted automatically from Wikipedia. There are large knowledge bases that do exactly that, and also there are other knowledge bases, domain-specific knowledge bases, or this Wikidata initiative, which is constructed manually. Constructed manually doesn't mean that you have to do there's no support. So one of the most interesting things is to give these editors support so that they can do this job. But checking the validity of these facts, I think that is something that needs to be done by humans if you want high quality data.
Ivan Ranepa, thank you very much for your presentation. I have one little question about future view. What about cold start with new person who's used your advisor? In the last slide, you show how system understand that you have the certain machine for coffee. It understands who's your students, etc. If I am a new user and there is a cold start, how long this system will take to understand who I am, to create my profile? Thank you.
Excellent question. I didn't include it in the example conversation because it was already long enough. But one of the features a conversational system can have is to clarify information if something is unclear. So when I say, email this to my students, then it could say, okay, I don't know who your students are. Here is a list of who I think your students are, based on whatever source, my emails, my homepage, and so on. But would you mind checking this? And then it would learn this or remember this information from that on. So ideally, you would have to teach it each thing only once.
Okay, thank you.
Vyacheslav, thank you for the introduction in the field. And I have a comment, and I think it's this future which you outlined seems rather grim for me from the point of view of privacy, actually, and it might be an anticipated comment also. Because I imagine that this personal assistant will simply call some knowledge base from CIA or KGB or whatever evil secret service you can imagine, retrieve all information they know about you, and then it will feed the information back to renew their knowledge base, and this can be easily enforced by the state. And many states do this already try to do it. Well, including the USA, including Kazakhstan recently, who tried to intercept all encoded, cryptographic communication in the country, etc. So I would imagine that, and another consequence of this type of an assistant would be that it it indirectly makes you to conform to some standard, because it will always advise you the most popular resort, for example. It will find the most popular pastime for you, etc. And if you rely on it, you will lead a standard life. So this life will actually lack creativity. It will be bad both for you and the economy, because new resorts will not receive customers, because the customers are routed to the already known resorts. And if the evil robot sends your wife to some resort and she finds a new wife there, a new husband there, then you only have the assistant to blame, etc.
Okay, so two quick comments on your comment. The first one, I think that's the present, not the future, so I didn't talk about it, but yes, many of these services are free, and you pay for them with your data and privacy. You just have to accept that if you use them. The second one, indeed, that's something to be addressed. Of course, in web search, we see that the system is driving us towards the most popular response, but this is something you can address head-on, so discovering non-popular holiday destinations. And since you know what is popular, it should be doable.
You have to think yourself, because if you don't do it and rely on the machine will think instead of you and live your life.
Absolutely. You shouldn't, follow the GPS and blindly and just drive into the river. So you're right.
Thank you. Anyone else, please? Okay, I think we're done here. A couple of organizing issues then. Thank you, Christian.
Thank you.